I have stage 4 cancer, and said no shit to what I thought was my in-laws' weird, insensitive comment. Last Sunday was my husband Mike's family dinner at his parents' house. I've been doing chemo for 6 months now, and these family gatherings have become really awkward. Everyone either treats me like I'm already dead or acts like nothing's wrong at all. I was sitting at their kitchen table wearing my favorite headscarf, the blue one with little flowers that Mike bought me after I lost all my hair. His mom Carol was making her famous pot roast, and the smell was actually making me feel hungry for once, which was rare these days. Mike's dad Tom was telling some long story about his golf game when Carol called from the kitchen. She said something I couldn't quite hear over the sizzling pan, so I asked her to repeat it. She turned around and said, "The cancer's really aggressive, isn't it?" I felt my face get hot. Here I was, trying to have one normal family dinner, and she just blurts out something like that. I'd been dealing with people's awkward comments for months, but this felt especially cruel coming from my mother-in-law. I looked right at her and said, "No shit, Carol. Thanks for the reminder that I'm dying." The whole kitchen went dead silent. Mike dropped his fork. Tom stopped mid-sentence about his golf swing. Carol's face went completely white, and she just stared at me with her mouth open. Mike reached over and grabbed my hand. "Honey, what are you talking about?" I started crying, which I hated doing in front of everyone. "Your mom just asked if my cancer was aggressive, like I needed her to point out how screwed I am." That's when Carol walked over to the table looking totally confused. She had this worried expression and said, "Sweetie, I was asking if the canker sore on Mike's lip was really aggressive. He mentioned it was bothering him at work." I looked at Mike, and sure enough, he had this tiny sore on his bottom lip that I hadn't even noticed. He'd been putting some cream on it all week and complaining that it wouldn't heal. I felt like the biggest idiot on the planet. Here I'd been expecting everyone to say something insensitive about my cancer, and Carol was just worried about her son's minor lip irritation. Carol sat down next to me and put her arm around my shoulders. "Oh, honey, I would never say something like that to you. I was asking Mike about his little sore." Tom cleared his throat and said, "We've all been walking on eggshells around here, afraid to say the wrong thing. Maybe we should just talk normal instead of pretending everything's fine." Mike nodded and said, "Mom's been researching recipes for cancer patients all week. She's been too nervous to ask what foods might help with your treatment." That's when Carol started crying too. She said she'd been wanting to help but didn't know what to say. She'd been reading articles online about nutrition during chemo and had bought all these special ingredients but was scared I'd think she was being pushy. We ended up talking for 2 hours about everything: my treatment schedule, how the chemo made me feel, what foods I could actually keep down, and even my fears about the future. It was the first real conversation we'd had since my diagnosis. Carol showed me the notebook she'd been keeping with recipes and tips she'd found online. She'd written down questions about my doctor visits but never asked because she didn't want to pry. Tom admitted he'd been avoiding calling me because he never knew what to say. He thought asking about normal stuff might seem stupid when I was dealing with cancer. By the end of the night, we had a plan. Carol would make me care packages with foods that might help with nausea. Tom would keep telling his golf stories because they made me laugh. And Mike promised to speak up when he had mysterious lip sores so his mom wouldn't have to worry about those too. The best part was when Carol hugged me goodbye and whispered, "Next time, just tell me to shut up instead of assuming I'm being mean." 3 months later, Carol's care packages have become the highlight of my week, and I actually look forward to family dinners again.